Welcome to the Holy Spirit's Curriculum of Joy podcast. My name is Wanaka Overheber, and I'm your host. My guest today is Cay Villars. Welcome to the podcast, and I'd love to hear what you have to share today.
Oh, Wanaka, thank you so much. What a holy relationship we're blessed to have with Jesus. And it seems so appropriate to talk about the curriculum of joy and say, this does lead to joy. ACIM 100% works if you're willing. And I'm so grateful for those who said, keep going. And you really need the support of mighty companions. So in this world, I can see we don't really know what joy is truly, the real joy, the joy of God on the inside. And there's so many doubt thoughts when I started. So I'm going to talk about my doubt thoughts, and it feels really helpful just to tell everyone, you just want to say it's infinite joy. It's infinite joy. On the end, you're like a fountain of joy. And then the question is, okay, so it works. It really, really, working with Jesus works. So then I'll share some stories about, in my experience, what helped me. Well, Jesus. And that's so hilarious coming from someone who wanted nothing to do with Jesus at all. I mean, I was taking the course, I started taking the course, but really that voice started talking to me before the course, but I didn't know it. I would have run. And it started, there were some like really specific examples, like when I was coaching in prison, and I hadn't been in the prison very long, but there was a standout moment in my mind where I had a woman come in and for coaching, and I said, what would you like to work on today? Or they have old tapes in your head, that we all have old tapes on our head that play over and over. And I had an idea about forgiveness, but not Jesus's version. But I knew that there were ways to kind of change perception. Let's put it that way, which is what we do in the course. And so I said, what would you like to change? She said, well, I stabbed my boyfriend 7 times. And I killed him. He died. And that was like a moment's pause. And in my mind, I thought, well, maybe she deserves to suffer and have guilt. Maybe that's the way it is. And I heard this voice say to me, no, if that's in the mind, this will be repeated. It's like perfect course material coming right through. I didn't know what that voice was, but somehow I was wise enough to follow it, and I worked with her, and really helped. There was just some tools, changing beliefs that change perception. Well, we know that from the course. So I was coaching for quite a few years and just would hear this voice, or I'd follow this voice, but I didn't know what it was. And then I started taking the course in about 2010. And, I'm really such a good one to talk about this because, oh my gosh, it took me like 4 tries to get through even the core curriculum. I'd stop after 60 days and I couldn't take it. I felt the devils were coming to get me, all this stuff having to wash out. But finally, I started getting through the lessons. Like, it took me 4 years. I was slow, but I knew, it's like there's something about this course. You've had it too, where you're looking and going, well, what's the deal? And there's just something about it. We all see it, if you're a course student. What I didn't know is how much 100% full-on purification it would take. And I'm going to share this for those that really want to take the course all the way, because I'm so grateful for those who said, keep going, because that ego is a freaking beast. And you probably know that because you know it because you look, your heart's in it. And it took so much persistence and so much saying no to the ego over and over. So I learned a lot coaching in prison about how to love my brother. And then the course came in, and at first I can see I was kind of resistant to that voice, and I certainly wasn't happy. Like, that's Jesus, I remember saying to him, so you can see where I started out, I'm just an ordinary course student going, Jesus, am I just like a difficult case? Am I like the impossible case for you to help? And I said, I don't know if I want to work with you, Jesus, because look at the crucifixion. Things didn't turn out so good for you. So I'm just sharing. Here's where my mind was. But there was a part of me that wanted to know the truth. And I guess that's what I would say. And I'm not saying anything new. It's been a Course in Miracles. I'm just saying stuff works if you do it. If you want to transcend the veil of tears and suffering, the Course is the thing I'm a fan. What can I say? It works, but you gotta learn to talk to that voice. It's the way out, and trust it. So, again, I was the last one that wanted to, I'm not talking to Jesus. But he kind of smoothed the skids through A Course in Miracles, and he got me to start hearing him and talking to him. And over the next, I started in 2010, about 2014, I finally finished the course. I got involved with a spiritual community. I spent a couple months in there on pure mind training. This is so helpful. I'm telling you, it's 24/7. Like, you don't need 30 years to do the course if you're 100% following and 100% learning to hear that voice and letting Jesus coach you to miracles. So I'm just going to say, okay, what out of the course like honed in on my mind? After 10 years, at about 2019, and I'm going to Muji, and it was helpful, contemplating light and all those things. And I was forgiving, learning how to look. But I was contemplating infinite light at a Muji retreat. This is the holy instant. Lesson 44, 189. This is valuable. It's a partner. Like, you've got contemplating light, but then you see a whole book of going, here's what you got to forgive. Here's what you got to forgive. It's 450 desires in there that he tells you, if you search, you believe. You'll see them. There's 400 of them that has to be healed. So right there, Course in Miracles is a play-by-play book. But at that time, 17, 18, kind of stepped away from the course and was going to see Muji, and I kept contemplating that infinite light. And I could see, and this is what you'll discover if you contemplate it, that there's something here that's infinite. There's something unchanging. And you hear people in satsang, at Muji's, they come up one after the other. Yes, I see it. I saw it myself. Look, Muji, look at this. It's love. There's so much love, And then 3 seconds later, you're forgetting, where did that go? That was just like disappear. But again, I was contemplating light in 2019, and I realized it was like, if I'm not experiencing this infinite peace all the time, then I have a desire not to experience. It was like a whole Course in Miracles went, well, part of it. I didn't quite have it all, but I realized, no, I'm choosing. And he says that in a course. But I didn't see, you don't quite get it before there, but it was like, oh my gosh. So within a few months, I was just typing one day. I think you know about this a little bit, but it was so helpful for me, right? And this voice I was just typing. I wasn't talking to anything. I just was typing, and then I gave it to a Course in Miracles student. I said, okay, where is the next chapter? And I'm going, I didn't know anything about that. But I thought, okay, maybe there is one. But I kept talking. And what evolved, it was like Jesus knew I was ready for him to start showing me the denials, like full on. That's what I realized. It's the secret is the desire for something other than God. And, I missed all these quotes, but he helped me see them again. Like, the awareness of God is lost, is regained through your desire, because it was lost through your desire for something else. Well, now Jesus is going, let me show you the something else. And so then he started showing me, look at these, you believes out of A Course of Miracles, like 80 of them, And I'm going, oh my gosh, I thought I'd been forgiven everything. And no, that's there. I could feel it. I'd be talking, oh my gosh, I can see that desire. And then he started coaching me one-on-one. Now, I want to emphasize, this is for everyone. When he said, Helen, please take notes, it's for all of us to pay attention to Jesus. He dictated the text. Do we not think that he would not coach us? You have a role in the atonement that I will dictate to you. Well, if we can't hear him, if we're not talking to him, how are we going to know what that is? I will tell you everything you need to know. I didn't get any of that until he started doing it. I go, okay, I guess this is why. And then he started teaching me about how I was choosing the miracles, misguided miracle working. In the first pages of Helen's notes, he's telling her, look, you don't even take notes unless you ask me whether it's okay. I'm going, holy smokes. I mean, it's specific. That voice is specific, and it tells you specifically, okay, here's what you look at. And just something, I had been following him a number, I can tell some stories about following him, how he got me to this point, sending me to, he sent me to Jerusalem and, where I cried in my room because I didn't want to go. Why are you sending me here, Jesus? Cried my eyes out in my room. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, I'm going to follow. And then just with 10 minutes, I had a holy companion who followed the Holy Spirit. How does that happen? Living down the hall from me. And then she takes me to the garden tomb, sitting in front of the tomb. I guess this is a message from you, Jesus. So, but he's won me over, and I was following some. Sometimes I'm curl up in my room and not want to move. Didn't want to go anywhere. Just paralyzed like this. I don't want to look, and all that's just didn't want to look. And, I had to build trust with him talking to me. But I keep wanting to emphasize this is for everyone. Why are we not talking about this in Course? He's the way, the truth, and the light. Let's talk to him, y'all. You don't worry about it. No, if you want out, that's your voice, and you're going to go in there and get it. So at some point of this listening and follow, and I want to talk about this because I see how important it is, right? You don't get it till you get it. My mind clicked. The last unanswered question I had to know. Last unanswered question, am I willing to see what's true because it's been denied? In other words, give it to me, Jesus. I'm going to see all of it. Okay. I wanted to back down after saying, you can feel yourself going, oh, I'm going to back down on this. But I did it. By and large, I just locked down on that. And at that point, man, the coaching began 24/7. Show me Jesus. Show me Jesus. And he'd show me, he'd tell me, okay, look at, what about this desire? Do I look at it? Yes or no? Everyone can talk to him about this. And I know Monica, you've come to some of our light circles, which the purpose is to have that dialogue. Yes, is this what I look at? That's how specific miracles need to be. Because like I said, he showed me how much time I wasted because I was misguided miracle working. But anyway, be that as may, we're learning wheel. So then it was 24/7. I mean, I would just spend, because when you go for the last unanswered question, The biggest challenge with miracles is we don't believe we're powerful enough to have them. Well, the 50 miracles principle, order of difficulty in miracles. Like, and well, he tells you in the Course that because we think the ego's valuable, your subconscious mind, when you start looking at the you believes, all those desires for something, you'll see if you're not getting a miracle on that, there's a part of your subconscious mind going, I love it. I got to have it, whatever it is, control. My brother's still heaven for me. Usurping the power of God. And I could see, my gosh, I like that. And I like usurping the, oh, it's humbling. The whole thing's humbling. But once I could see that I liked it, that I chose it, and I wanted that more than God, I could say no to it. I am not going to take that. And by working with him, I got more and more, I saw the power to choose. You know, it's like, I can choose. Like, pain would come up. No, Jesus, I am not taking that. Do I need to take that pain, Jesus? No. So you go, no. It's like, well, let's start working on it. So it took a lot of 24/7 following, a lot of screaming, Jesus, you're not helping me. Where's the supreme happiness? Where is it? Because you can't feel it, because it's buried under 450 of these things. And the ego wants to take a year on each of those. You know, it gets its pleasure out of all that. So, but that once my mind said, no, I'm going to see it, show it to me, I learned how to collaborate with him. I would ask him, is this a miracle? And then he'd go, yes, look at this. And I would just say, give it all the energy of that to me. You know, you really helped, because you sent me that thing, can't remember, pointed out how miracles cause tension. You remember that, Wanako? So good. But anyway, I could see it. It was tension. He showed me how to just stand back and he reveal the wanting of it, the wanting of other. And it would just come up. And it was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad. And then the energy would clear. And you'll get these miracles down to the point you just yawning the tension out. So anyway, I just worked with him and screamed and I did all kinds of stuff. I don't want to do that. But Heidi, you asked me to do it. Okay, Jesus. You know, so he had me, I'll do all kinds of things. Set up this center in Mexico. The last place. Did I want to live in Mexico? No, I didn't. What?
Didn't know Spanish.
Didn't know. Oh, you told me you're not learning Spanish either. Had to trust. But every day I would follow him. You're going to feel shredded. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel, but you just go, I'm getting a miracle. He told me, you are too tolerant. He was right. I was tolerating mind wandering and going off. But by working with him, my mind started to get really disciplined to bring my mind back to what is he showing me. And I'm getting that miracle. And you got to lock down. I'm getting it because it's yours, you know? So he can point out where you don't want it. He can show you where you have heaven and hell upside down. He'd go, you know, here's where you like this more than God. It's like, alrighty. It's humbling. It's really, oh, you're right, Jesus. I do like that more than God. But over time of that, just 100% following, 100%, well, the Course. The biggest challenge is the commitment that God and his kingdom is first. And for me, that was it. Like, you know, whatever it takes. And then I'd go for a while and then scream a bit and then get back on. You got to keep getting back on the forgiveness horse, you know. But with that trust, even though I screamed at him, but I realized I got to forgive that too. After over time, like this joy would come. It's like a rocket of joy. I mean, like even right now, you know, and just kept forgiving. And that's the most important thing too, I learned, as the joy starts coming, to stay on the forgiveness, because the ego is going to start telling a story. Oh, look how good this joy is. It's fabulous. I'm done. I'm away. No. No, it loves, ego likes nothing better than telling a story about being awake. You know, I'm awake. No, the only test, the gift, look at your Holy Spirit Curriculum of Joy podcast, Monaco. The only test is that you take in the curriculum is you're wholly joyous. And if you're not, then you go, I got to have a talk with Jesus to tell, you know, on every twitch. And I decided, like, I'm not going to have a single twitch, not one. I'm not going to have one unholy relationship. You know, I sound like I thought, Jesus, am I kind of becoming a Nazi for the voice? But I see, we don't know one where we're judging. This is because it's so buried. It's so tricky in that subconscious mind. But if we have him, he comes in like a laser beam and he goes, look right there, you know, look right there. That's what you want. You want that relationship with him, you know, where you have that, you know, I started partnering with him and they call it collaboration. Salvation is a collaborative venture, and you got to collaborate with your brothers. The ego doesn't want to do that. It wants to go off by itself somewhere, you know. There's so many times, I can't say the number of times, like, you know, Jesus, can I just sell this place and get rid of it in Mexico? Or can I, you know, you just back, you know, you'd be looking at something. I was in Bali and I'm walking along in Bali and I see this motor scooter and I can hear him already. You're going to ride that motor scooter. Oh my gosh, Jesus, anybody but me, because I don't like those things. You know, I don't like those things at all. But I just, you know, it's like this, but I trusted him, and I didn't like motorcycles. I can't tell you the number of motorcycles he had me ride on this motor scooter. So I got on it. See, you got to say yes first, and then he can show you just stunning things, stunning time and space rearrangement kind of things that you can't even imagine. So I got on that scooter and I'm driving. And for you in Europe, this is not going to be a big deal. But for an American who thinks all the Europeans drive on the wrong side of the road, okay? Bali's driving on the wrong side of the road. So then now I'm, you know, scooting along on the scooter, crashing into bushes. The guy goes, oh, just take it. Go practice. Doesn't even take my name. What's your first name? I pay him cash. You know, he had to come find me because I was stuck in the bush somewhere. But anyway, took that thing, started motoring around an island in Bali and just had all these just amazing experience. Found this spectacular overlook, ran into somebody at this little tiny hotel about this big. And she goes, yeah, when you're finished looking up there, why don't you come down? I'd like to talk to you about spirituality in the middle of nowhere. So, you know, but each of these, the ego is going to tell you, don't do it. You cannot back down. That's what I say. You can't back down. And you have to get that trust built with Jesus, or else you will not see that you have the power to choose and cease to choose hell in your mind. And there's a lot of hell in the subconscious mind. There's, you know, this book, there's no book on this planet that has so much about how the subconscious mind is used to deny divinity. But it's so easy to misguided miracle work. I didn't know that. You know, I was going in, I need to forgive this, and here's these beliefs, and I'm a coach, so I know how to do beliefs. Well, once I started talking to Jesus and he showed me, you know, that's misguided miracle working, because consciously controlled miracles are misguided. They're misguided because we, the one who made the ego up, don't know where the problem is. So we need that voice. Boy, that voice hones in and it goes, look here. But once it started doing that, of course the ego's going to scream, because game over. You're willing, at the point where you say yes to the last unanswered question, you're willing to give your mind over to him and leave no place. It's the course, no surprise, but I had to, learn, here's the decisions I needed to make. First, I got to listen to the voice. Second, I got to listen to the voice 100%. Third, I've got to follow the voice 100%. Doesn't mean if you're hearing it, it doesn't matter unless you're following 100%. I had to make a decision that he's the one that God guides miracles. So you have to talk to the voice so he can tell you, here's your miracles that you need. So it was just, you can start to see the decision, and then the decision comes, wait, they're all desires. These are all desires for other, meaning something else. It's an experience, something else than God. And you realize, wait, miracles occur at the level of desire for something other. But you see, if you don't realize there's no order of difficulty in miracles in your mind, you see, you won't feel that you're powerful enough to release the desire to experience other than God in your mind. So working with him, and you just keep doing it, and he's showing you all that secondary gain, what I call the reasons why you seem stuck and can't get a miracle on something. Who better to tell you, look right here, here's where you're valuing that desire, usurping the power of God more than getting a miracle. So, oh my gosh, just the stories of just being coached by him. But it's for everyone. But I just don't, I'm just flummoxed. Really, that all these Course in Miracles, and no one talks about he dictated the book. Wouldn't he not be here to coach us through it? But you have to, there's just a lot of resistance because of voice. The ego says the voice, you're sure you're going to be led into hell by the voice. That's just how it works. But I'm just here to say 100%, everyone, without exception, can hear that voice. Everyone can transcend the ego if you're willing to make God your number one. And like I say, this joy, and now you're just sitting there, nothing. Or I'm doing something in this rocket ship, or even before, as my eyes first open in the morning, it's like this rocket ship of joy. Like, and then I know if it's not that, he's going to show me something else out of here I need to see. But it's not, the ego is confused about what happiness is. It thinks its idea of pleasure is happiness. Its idea of control is happiness. There's no way I'm seeing, without cleaning out that basement of that subconscious content, this list, that you can experience joy, because it's covered over by the wanting, the doer, I want to be a person. I'm weak. I'm powerless. I forget. I'm in mind wandering. So it takes a lot of discipline and consistency. And the ego doesn't want that. It doesn't want to every day devote. No, I'm getting my miracles. I'm getting those because Jesus, they're mine. They're yours. They're a decision to no longer invest in something else. And then you just have this just so much joy. So again, I just want to encourage everyone, because there can be an idea. It's not to say, anyone, okay, you've been in the Course 30 years. You can get it now, but you won't get it fast without 100% in what the Course says. Why is, after so much time, is stuff still coming up? Because the first question is going to be, are you following him? You know, are you devoted to hear the voice and then do what the voice asks you to do? Because I didn't realize this either. When you follow, when he gives you an assignment, like come down here, which one of the first things said, all right, Jesus, I'll do it, but don't make me ride the bus. I don't know why that was a problem. Of course, he had me ride the bus 100 times, but you're making a pact within yourself when you follow to go, I'm going to see the truth. Now, you don't really realize that at the time. I didn't realize it. I can only say it now that, you know, I don't know what I'm saying yes to, you know, and you don't see, I'm saying no to the ideas I have of the world. So following is you say no, and you're going, okay, Jesus, I'm giving, like when I went to Jerusalem, I can see that. It was giving my mind over to Jesus for healing. So you're getting all these miracles when you're following that you don't even know, because I don't know how he does it, but now I see it, you know? And when you don't follow, you're saying, there's a part of your mind that's protected from his help. And then there's nothing the ego likes better. This is what I discovered. It loves telling a story about what miracles it got. Like, oh, I got the best miracles. Like, okay, you know, maybe you saw something, but you want optimal. You want to maximize your time and that partnership with him, where he shows you what you need to erase from your mind. Oh my gosh. That you can see it first 10 pages in Helen's notes, you know, talks about misguided miracle working. He's specific about it. You know, you ask me, you need to ask me, and it really helped confirm the importance. You want, the ego hates this all day, because I can see after my mind switched over, I didn't know this consciously. I didn't see it till later. My mind switched over. Okay, I'm going to see everything. I was asking him, okay, do I get a cookie? Yes or no? You know, and that seems to some, well, that's too much, but I can see that it honors that I don't know whether or not the consciousness is using that cookie for pleasure or for something other than to know God. So I just, you know, I just gave everything and started to just, okay. And see now, you know, now you're like on that rocket ship of just infinite. This is what we want to be talking about. The curriculum of joy. All right. This is awakening to be in this constant celebration inside where miracles are natural, and it's like a celebration, you know, and he still gives you stretch assignments to clear out anything that is not of God, you know. But well, you know this, Monaco, it takes everything, you know, it takes 100% investment in that God is what I had to know God, you know, like Tony Robbins, he would say, you got to burn the boat. And I don't know why that made me uncomfortable. It really made me, but now I see why. Because you got to it's a commitment to know yourself. It's a celebration of God, you know, and as he says, none of it's like we think it is. Not one scrap. Not one scrap. I could outpicture, you know, what this course is pointing to, but you got to get in there and forgive. And he's just saying, look, I can ask him now, Jesus, 100%, every course student can talk to you 100%, 24/7. Yes, that's your voice. You know, and it will dawn in your mind from following him enough because I'm walking down the street one day after I had followed him on something, and I'm thinking, look, Jesus, yes, I said yes to what you asked me to do. And then, because I thought you just do what God wants you to do and you get the yes, right? But what I didn't see until that moment, what bloomed in my mind was that is not saying yes to doing something. It's saying yes to all that I am given by God. And so he was showing me that to make a decision about guidance, you're asking the question, does this, if I do this, does this, is this saying no to the ego or yes to the ego? See, it gets very simple then. Am I following the ego to do this, or is this accepting all the love the Father has for me? And after a while, you start to feel it when something's coming up and you're just wondering, are you telling me to do this, Jesus, or whatever? But you'll hear that yes, but it'll be infinite. And the same thing, like the voice, oh my goodness, as your mind purifies just one thought, is the reminder of infinite, of the void. It's a reminder of Holy Communion. No wonder the ego doesn't want to listen to that 24/7. Because at first it's like, all right, I'll listen, and then it's kind of neutral, but then you start purifying your mind and going deep into the subconscious hidden content and clearing that out. And that joy starts coming, and you just have one thought to talk to infinite voice for God. It's like infinite, the reminder of the celebration of God within you. That's why you don't want to talk to that thing. It wants to fear it, wants to fight it. But it takes a lot of purification because there's so much subconscious content right here. So you can't, I'm just saying, I'm just going to offer, oh my God, there's so much love, there's so much joy. It's like it's infinite. So I just asked him, you want me to say this? Look, you will not get this by talking about it. You have to learn to join with your brother and look and call on Jesus. Let's look together if you have an upset. Get to the point. You don't have to talk about it. You just get to the point. I'm going to join Jesus. You show me what I need to see. That saves so much time. The egos like to talk about it. I did too. Tell Jesus the list. Here's why I'm so upset. And it's like, you actually practice. I'm never upset for the reason I think. Put that out there. You stop all the that the ego's doing, and you go, okay, Jesus, you tell me. You tell me what I need to see. And then it's beautiful if you watch the beings share, and then you watch the ones who said, I can't talk to Jesus in a year. They're just writing notes. He's giving them, okay, here's the problem, Joe. I won't use any names because they asked me, okay, Joe, this is why. And he'll tell him everything, give them a list. You think this, and you will see, you're devoted to talking to him. You will be able to write notes like Helen. Or you look at the notes that I took when I was talking to him. It's going to look like that. Or you look at some of the notes that other beings that are talking to Jesus, he's handing it to them. Here you go. Here's where but the question is, if he gives you that, because we have a whole course, like why would we need to talk to him? Because he will say, here's which of the 50 or 400 of these desires that you need to work on now. And that will take out when it's like, some people talk about the work, let's go get a belief. That is I'm saying it. Can I say it, Jesus? That is the fastest way for you to get in this guided miracle work. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just, I did a lot of belief change work, working but if it's not guided by Jesus, sometimes he tells me, don't look. I tell the story about my finger. One day my finger was really hurting. Why is this? Jesus. can I work on this for a miracle? He goes, no. Just like, I must have asked him 4 times. I would try him again in case he changed his mind. Jesus, change your mind. Come on. But so I had to learn when he said to drop it. You see, you save time by a hot potato. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, it was gone. Oh, this is another thing he showed me too. The ego is so tricky on these miracles. He taught me, and it taught everyone, because we're doing it here, everybody's doing it here. Jesus is the healing complete on any of these desires. Are there any scraps left? And then he'll tell you, no, you got to, keep going until there's nothing left. Who better to tell you if there's any hidden stuff in your subconscious mind? So, anyway, wow, it's just, so you can tell I'm very enthusiastic about A Course in Miracles, Monica. There are times I wanted to burn the book, throw it out. I'm sorry I ever took this course. I wonder if I'm asking Jesus if I ever said to him, I'm sorry I ever talked to you. No, but everybody knows. I told him at least 100,000 times, Jesus, you are not helping me. You promised you would help him. You would help me, Jesus. Where are you? But now I can see, and now that he's humbled me, I was wanting to get help the way I wanted it, which is no help. I was wanting to have someone to blame outside myself, like blame him. Somebody to blame. You're not helping me. And then if this is really, it's like, that was a way I was using my mind to actually block from hearing what he would say about something. It's very humbling. It's tricky. It's so tricky. So, yeah, for those who want joy, Jesus, what I say, join with your brother. You can't go and discuss the course. You won't do it. You have to learn how to be brave and courageous and look and come with your brother. Okay, we're going to look together. Truth. That is turbocharged. It's a collaborative entry. You have to look. You have to allow him to choose the situations. I will tell you, no surprise. I'll tell you everywhere to go, what to do, and what to say. And then when he tells you to say something, which the ego does not want to do, you got to say it for you. But then you'll start seeing he's using everything to celebrate God. You're speaking. It's not what you're saying. It's who you are celebrating. What are you celebrating when you speak? Because this is so important. Because the ego will talk and it will live inside of the dream of talking the story of the beliefs that it has about the world. Here's what I believe, and this is why I can't follow this guidance. This is why, and it goes into that contraction. See, instead, that's why developing the discipline, we work on that a lot here, to go, Jesus. I know we probably have just a minute or so left, but or do you want me to say that? What do you want me to say? Because that cuts that ego doing its little dance. It tunes you into the voice because you've got to listen to know what to say. And it helps you get really clear in that communication channel with the voice. So, what do you want me to say? Where do you want me to go? But it has to be 100% in. And the ego just doesn't want to do that. It believes, a lot of people say, okay, I can do this course by myself. All the decisions need to be made within yourself that he offers. The decision not to leave anything unhealed in your mind. That's your decision. Your decision is, I'm going to get this miracle. Decisive. You become very decisive about miracle working. But, okay, you don't get to decide the best way for you to get through the curriculum. He dictates that. You have to accept his dictation. Here's what you do next. Here's what you do next. And it's got to be, the ego hates us. You got to be 100% in. There isn't another way. Yeah. But it leads to joy. It leads to exactly what your podcast said, like a fountain, like just, you're like sitting on a rocket of joy there, typing away or doing stuff. It's like so much love. That's what's hidden under this. So I'm going to say it, this lifetime, quicker than most believe, but are you going to be 100% in to get it? And do whatever he tells you. He tells you wash the dog. He tells you scrub a toilet. He tells you whatever. Your mind has to get to that decision. I will do whatever he asks me to do. And your ego is not going to like it. But your ego will never get you to this joy. It'll get you constant death. The desire for a horrific spiritual awakening. All these Course in Miracles students got it. So if you follow Jesus, you're going to have a lighter awakening, I can tell you. But it's a clue. If it's really horrific, I can see it. When was I having a hard time? Because I desired a horrific spiritual awakening experience. So that was a clue to start working with them. Jesus, do I desire a horrific? Oh my gosh, that's down there. I started working on that one right away. Let me forgive that. So, then otherwise it's a horror story, and the ego likes nothing better than to have a horrific spiritual awakening and then share how bad it was. Because once you transcend all that stuff and you see you were choosing it for yourself and you see you're powerful enough not to choose it, it's so irrelevant, it's like a blip on your radar screen. Yes, I cried. Okay, I'll tell that story. Yes, I screamed. Yes, I felt like I was being shredded. Yes, yes, yes. But guess what? And I saw, oh my God, I chose every minute of that for myself. This is the ultimate, personal empowerment. You can talk about every empowerment program you want. There is nothing than to know the divine power within you, and A Course in Miracles will deliver that if you're willing. I think is we just about complete? Is that anything else?
Yeah, we're almost, time's almost up, yeah. So Thank you so much for sharing all this. And it's it's hard to grasp the way you live it, because it's so important. You speak about the voice, and you hear it, and you act, and so on. And it's not like everyone has learned to trust a voice speaking within them, or to follow through with that, because there's so many stories about a voice misguiding people about this and that, and all these psychological ideas about what could go wrong and so on. So it's a very big step to say, yes, I know, because it's also the thing of faith, right? The issue of faith, right? You're saying 100% in, so 100% faith in what's going on, right? This voice. And you're also, so it's and then you're saying you need to do things that you probably wouldn't do if that voice were not telling you, right? Now, there's also people who claim they heard a voice telling them to do something that really was bad, right? Of course you don't. That's not something you should follow, right? If it's gonna tell you to harm someone, you're not gonna do it. So the question is how you've come to this view or this understanding where the voice actually never tells you to do anything like that, right? And you probably differentiate, because you said also the ego will scream, the ego will this, the ego will that, and you are differentiating something.
Well, this is so good, Monica. What a great question. You join and you devote yourself. I am going to hear that voice. And you join with others that are totally uncompromising, They will not accept anything other than that voice. And that is really helpful to be with those that just go, no, God is that's it. And I realize you're kind of discombobulated at first, and the ego, but joining, I will tell you, joining is the fastest means to dissolution. And we have a guidance worksheet that you can test anything against. With the mighty, you join with the mighty, and you go through. And yes, sometimes you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to be confused. But the more it grows, the more you learn to step into it. You see, that's the first step. You have to step into it, but you can have mighties who are very clear, and they can help you confirm it. Do they hear it too? Because guidance isn't personal. It's for the whole. And so you just keep joining, who've devoted themselves to that purification to hear. They don't want anything else other than that voice. But I get it at first. The ego, there's a lot of mind. This generates a lot of mind noise, all of this. But I'm just here to say, if you want it, it's yours. If you want to be clear, it says in A Course in Miracles, and Jesus would say, I had a headache one time, and he said, don't act like you can't hear me. It's hilarious. But anyway, but Jesus says, if you cannot hear my voice, it's the voice of the Holy Spirit, it's because you choose not to. So all you need to do is go, I'm going to this is important to me to be clear. Jesus, will you help me? And that help will be provided. But I get the noise. And every time he'd ask me to do something, and I'd cry and all that kind of stuff. And, I wasn't like going, yay, I can't wait to get on that motor scooter and go. But there'll become some part of you that has that, because this is the voice for wholeness in you. It's the part of you that remembers wholeness. So if you're determined to hear it, because it's a part of you, you can't not hear it. But yes, Monica, you're so right. You have to be devoted to developing that discernment. But you're going to have the mighties. If you want it, the mighties are going to come in that are going to help you with that. They're going to help you be clear. If you want God in his kingdom, you'll be given the ones that can help you. But the question is, if we don't follow, it's saying yes first, and then, like, if I didn't say yes to the motor scooter and get on it, I wouldn't have been driving down the road, and all of a sudden this infinite joy was celebrating within me. That was one of the first real glimpses of joy, where it uncoupled what I was doing. It was like a watershed moment, because then I realized, wait a minute, that joy doesn't have anything to do with on a motor scooter. See, we're so linked that our happiness comes from doing something. That uncoupled it. So if you're committed, but the ego doesn't like what the spirit's going to try and say to unwind from this beast. But you can do it. My niece could hear, this is, okay, here's an example. So my niece saw inner light, okay? She saw the holy instant, because I showed her this experiment you can do. Anybody can do it, a pointing experiment, and she saw it. And I said, what happens in the light, holy instant? All is forgiven. The whole Course of Miracles. That was like a 30-second thing, just like, and I saw it with the guys in prison too. They would we'd do a little forgiveness activity, and then they'd start speaking. What did God tell you? And you can hear that voice in it, and you'd think, oh, they couldn't really hear. Oh my gosh, I heard that over and over. The best time to hear the voice is after you've forgiven something, because your mind's going to be more clear. So yeah, I'm just inviting everybody in. Don't let the ego discombobulate you. Join, look, use the guidance worksheet we have, use the miracle worksheet to get specific. Because the ego is going to stay general. It's going to go, but what about this? But what about that? And you just say, no, I'm going to hear. You can hear the voice anyway. We already talked about that. You can hear. Well, I know you can hear it. So the ego's going to come up with excuses not to follow, or why it's a problem, or it's not clear. Get that. But there'll be a part of you, the part of you that wants God, that's going to start locking down when you see the world does not have the value, you know. I mean, I wait late in my years, you know. Some are smarter than me and didn't wait till so many years. But it doesn't matter when you get it. Well, you get it, you know. But do you deserve it? It's like, this is the value we place on what God gave us, to be just this infinite joy and not be subject to pain and suffering and, you know, the horrors of this horrific world. So anyway, all I can do is just encourage and welcome, and let's go. Go for God. You know, go for God, you know, and support whoever wants to go. If we're given in a holy relationship, we're going together, you know. But it's a beast in the middle. What can I tell you? It's a beast in the middle. So you need to grab the hands of the mighties that are committed to go. And you got to trust, and you got to let go of the things you're holding on to in the world. Because the ego is going to use, well, I'm not sure I can't. Jesus, man, I'm not sure I can hear you. There's a lot of static. You know, the ego do that kind of thing. So, yeah. Everybody's invited, Monaco, you know. You can do it.
Oh, thank you so much for being here on the podcast and sharing your insights and your thoughts. And I would like to thank everyone who's joining us. Thank you, everyone who's supporting the podcast in whatever way you are. Please share about it, let people know, review it, subscribe, so that more people get to know about it. And if you want to be on the podcast, please connect with me so that I know you want to be on it and we can arrange things. So blessings to you all, and until next time.
Thank you, Monaco. Love you.
Thank you too.